The lemons were already cut unevenly. I remember noticing that first, thin slices sliding away from thick ones on the wooden board, seeds clinging to the blade. Lemon juice had slipped into the small crack on my thumb, the one that opens every winter, no matter how much lotion I use. Across the yard someone laughed. It took me a moment to understand it was meant to include me. My daughter stood near the patio table, holding the scarf I had brought her. Blue wool, soft, heavy, knitted through the darker evenings of January and February, when the house is quiet and hands need something to do. She held it between two fingers like it was damp. "This is only good for cleaning the floor." She tossed it into the trash beside the folding chair. Paper plates shifted. A soda can rolled against the side of the bin. Her husband laughed the way people laugh when something confirms what they already believed. Then he looked toward the cutting board. "You mind slicing a few more lemons?" Like nothing had happened. Like that was always my role in the room. For a moment I thought my daughter might say something. She didn't. She was already turning back to her friends, smoothing her dress, smiling in that careful social way she learned in college. I cut 3 more lemons. The knife made a dull, steady sound. Nobody spoke to me again. That part didn't surprise me. It hadn't for a long time. Over the years gatherings had changed shape around me. At first it was small adjustments. Could you grab the plates? Could you refill the pitcher? Could you stay in the kitchen while we finished talking? It never sounded unkind. Just practical. Gradually I stopped sitting down. By the time my daughter married, I had become useful background movement. Someone who kept things tidy, someone who knew where the napkins were, someone who sliced lemons. When the bowl was full, I washed my hands at the sink and dried them on a paper towel. Then I walked quietly to the guest room. My bag was already half packed from the night before. I folded my sweater into it and zipped the side pocket where my medication sat. At the bottom of the bag was the tin box, small, scratched, the kind that once held sewing needles. I slid it into the outer compartment and closed the zipper. No one noticed when I left the house. That didn't hurt as much as it once might have. Outside, the afternoon had cooled. Children were chasing each other along the sidewalk with pieces of cake in their hands. I walked to my car and sat for a moment before starting it. The tin box rested on the passenger seat. I had carried it for years. Most of the time I forgot it was even there. Inside were folded papers, yellowed slightly at the edges. Nothing dramatic, just ownership records, trust agreements, and a letter from a lawyer written in careful, patient language. Years ago, long before my daughter met her husband, I bought the house they lived in now. It wasn't expensive then. The neighborhood hadn't grown yet. But I had been careful with money for most of my life, and after my own mother passed there was a small inheritance. I placed the house inside a trust. The intention was simple. If anything happened to me, my daughter would always have a place to live. She and her husband moved in after the wedding. Everyone called it their house. I never corrected them. At first it didn't matter. Then the years passed. Sometimes patience slowly changes shape without you noticing. It becomes something else, something quieter. Something people mistake for agreement. The lawyer's office smelled faintly of dust and printer ink. He read through the papers in the tin box slowly, adjusting his glasses. "Nothing here has transferred ownership," he said eventually. "I didn't think it had." "You're still the trustee?" I nodded. Outside the window someone was trimming hedges with loud electric clippers. "What would you like to do?" he asked. It wasn't a threatening question. Just practical. I thought about the backyard from the party, the lemon slices sliding across the board, the scarf in the trash. Strangely, those images didn't make me angry. They made things clear. The house should still support her, I said. But not him. The lawyer leaned back slightly. "There are ways to structure that." And there were. Weeks later a letter arrived at their address. Not an eviction. Nothing like that. Just notice that the property would be sold and the funds placed into a managed housing trust in my daughter's name. The trust would guarantee housing security for her long term. But it could not be borrowed against. It could not be used as collateral, and no spouse would ever control it. Her husband's name appeared nowhere in the documents. The phone rang 3 days later. I recognized the number. My daughter's voice sounded different than usual, not angry. "Careful! Why are you doing this?" I looked down at my hands. Yarn rested across my lap. I had started knitting again a few weeks earlier. A simple gray scarf. This one was softer. "It's still your home," I said, "but a home should belong to someone who understands its cost." She was quiet for a while. Then she asked if we could talk more later. I said yes. After the call ended, I finished another row of stitches. The yarn moved easily between my fingers. The tin box sat empty now in the drawer beside the couch. For years I carried it like something heavy. It turned out it was only waiting to be opened.